Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fallout 4. Now, I've played this game a lot. Like an unhealthy amount a lot. I've built bases, conquered the Commonwealth multiple times over, and romanced Preston. Again, multiple times over. You name it, I've done it. But there's one tiny problem. I don't have a single achievement. Not one. Because I play with visual mods, having any mods on of any sort disables them. Previously, I've already 100%ed the achievements on console, so I have a pretty good idea of what needs to be done to obtain this feat. We have a total of 50 achievements to obtain, and some of them are easy, like literally just leaving the vault or finishing the game. Others, a little bit more work, like the painful task of reaching level 50, and some are just questionable. But today, that changes. I'm going to get every single base game achievement in Fallout 4. No mods, no shortcuts, no glitches, just pure sweaty dedication. So, grab your snacks, grab a drink, and get yourself comfy. Because this is going to be a journey filled with pain, and probably too many deaths to count. We start the same way every good Fallout run starts, in front of the mirror, carefully crafting our beautimous character. Now this is the face, the legend, the absolute specimen that will carry us through the entire run. Hunter. We explored the house for a bit and attempted to day drink before the apocalypse started, and a lovely Vault-Tec salesman showed up. Little does he know, I'm about to min-max the out of the end of the world. Now for the perks. See, I've chosen these very carefully for once, to specifically aim for some achievements. Like, What's Yours Is Mine, Benevolent Leader, and Robco's Worst Nightmare. So, here's the plan. Perception at 4, because I'll be lockpicking every single thing that isn't nailed down. Charisma at 10 for better bartering and local leader. 6 intelligence so we can farm sweet XP and hack terminals. 2 agility, that just gives us enough to get the commando perk for a certain overpowered weapon. And finally luck at 3 for a little bit more damage with bloody mess. And with that said, this is the blueprint for our achievement run. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it's going to work. Probably. Maybe. We'll see. So, first things first. We silenced the baby, promised Nora we would go to the park like responsible parents, and then immediately sat down on the sofa watching the news report, where we were informed the world was about to end. Nora instantly bolted it out of the door, and of course we followed soon after. We got clearance into the vault, stood on the platform, and then... Oh my god! Descending into the vault, we waddled through the halls and climbed into our personal state-of-the-art freezer. It was comfy, cozy, and definitely not suspicious at all. But then we got frozen solid, only to wake up long enough to watch our wife check out early, and Sean meanwhile decided he was done with the nonsense and stormed off. Probably he's in search of milk since how his previous source retired. Escaping, we secured the wifey's wedding ring because caps don't grow on trees, and stumbled our way through the vault, baton in hand, clearing up Asmongold's home. We got some of that Second Amendment power in the form of a 10mm pistol and some ammo, popped a few more roaches, scooped out the Pip-Boy, and made our ascent to the wasteland, where we got our first achievement for leaving the vault. Running down the hill, we ran into our pre-war home of Sanctuary, where we did what any good wastelander would do and rummaged through every drawer and cabinet, stuffing our pockets with everything we could carry, and not forgetting the basement that is filled with actual golden bars. We leveled up, slapped a perk point into advanced lockpicking, letting us now pick advanced locks, and got a little head start on the lockpicking achievement, cracking and looting all the safes in Sanctuary. On top of that, we snagged our very first magazine, the first of 20 to get the Prince Not Dead achievement. See, magazines and bobbleheads are the two main collectibles in Fallout 4, granting small bonuses for each one collected. There's 120 magazines scattered across the wasteland, so it's basically impossible not to stumble onto enough of them eventually. But the bobbleheads? Oh no, these are cruel. There's exactly 20 of them, and you need all of them. And the best part is, half of them are hidden in places you would never visit, unless Todd Howard himself whispered the directions to you in your ear. But we get there when we get there. Before leaving Sanctuary, we upgraded our trusty 10mm and made our way over at the Red Rocket gas station, where we met the cutest, deadliest companion of all. Dog meat.
I will burn this planet down.
We would charge headfirst into battle and somehow survive situations that would deatomize any man. A little further down the road, we stumbled across Concord, where the raiders had Preston and the gang pinned down. We tore through the raiders outside and made a beeline for the speakeasy. Preston can wait, we've got some exploring to do. We ransacked the place, grabbed some goods, and maybe indulged in a few questionable chems, you know, for research purposes. Back at the museum, we cleared the raiders inside, unlocked a generator, and grabbed a fusion core, and finally reached Preston on the top floor. We secured our first bobblehead and a permanent +1 perception, as well as loading a game into our Pip-Boy for our second achievement. Talking to Preston, he told us that there was some power arm on the roof with a minigun on the side, and well, I mean, I already have the fusion core, and it would be rude not to take it for a spin. Hopping in the suit, now we're basically a walking tank on 2 legs. We turned the remaining raiders on the street into mush, and then out of nowhere, Becky the Deathclaw decided to make a guest appearance. So, we slam back some Jet and Psycho, and with Dogmeat by our side, we turn Becky into a very quiet Deathclaw. Regrouping inside the museum with Preston, Mama Murphy told us it's time to head over to Diamond City to try and find our son. On the way, we met Trash Can Carla, traded off some loot and sold the power armor. Because, honestly, early game power armor is like eating dessert before breakfast. You know, it's fun and all, but like, it feels wrong. At the Drumlin Diner, we helped Trudy deal with her Wolfgang and Simone problem, and we even got to marvel at Hunter just standing there shotgun in hand. Normally, I would just kill them for free, but if this cap's already on the table, I will be taking them. With Order Up completed, we reached level 5 and unlocked our first level-based achievement, and travelled onward, securing some more free power armor to sell, and even coming across a mongrel that used bullshit magic to get rid of threats. Like, just watch this. I can see it in the bush. You ain't slick. What the f***? Where the fuck am I? Why the fuck am I all the way back here? What the fuck? With that little setback out of the way, we made our way into Lexington for the Super Duper Mart, snagged another magazine along with a few other things, and cleared the place of ghouls, walking out mostly unscathed. We continued on to the Cambridge police station where we teamed up with Halen and Dance to clear off even more ghouls, completing the fire and support quest, and officially kicking off the Brotherhood questline, which is the end and that we'll be doing first. The next stop, Diamond City. We chatted with Piper, tossed around some smooth talk, and somehow bullshit our way into the Jewel of the Commonwealth. But there's no time to linger here. There's another bobblehead calling my name. Swiping Kellogg's key from the mayor's pocket, we headed to the aftermath of a super mutant fight where we found a beautiful shiny set of diamond security armor, which, to be honest, is insanely good this early on in the game. In downtown Boston, we entered the library and instantly got our leg privileges revoked. Also, while fighting the robots inside, a group of super mutants just rolled in and absolutely wrecked us. After the dust settled, we grabbed our second bobblehead, giving us +1 intelligence, and moved on to saving a detective. But not before testing out our luck and wasting a ton of ammo on Swan. It went about as well as you would expect. Trying to fight a behemoth this early on in the game was a disaster. And quick saving right before I died didn't particularly help either. But with the mighty power of Dogmeat, a trusty pistol, and some strategic spinning around a building, we finally took him down. As a reward, we got the Furious Power Fist, which does more damage the more hits you land on a single target, which makes it perfect for taking down high HP enemies. Entering Park Street Station, we started cutting down the numbers of Triggermen by punching them into atoms, while sniping the remainder of them with a rifle that we grabbed in the library. We then opened the vault, tested out all of our new weapons on the enemies inside, and finally reached Dino. Beating him to a bloody pulp, we freed Nick and grabbed yet another bobblehead. With Nick in tow, we started to leave the vault and bumped into Skinny Malone. Now, we could have just talked our way out of this, but Vats was way too tempting. So, making swift work of him and his gang, we escaped to the surface and completed the Unlikely Valentine quest, unlocking another story achievement. Before meeting back up with Nick in Diamond City, I decided to follow the Freedom Trail and make contact with the Railroad faction. Following the trail led us to the Old North Church where we dealt with the ghouls inside, and entered the super secret Railroad password, which, believe it or not, was Railroad. It's not exactly Fort Knox level security, but whatever works. When talking to Desdemona, she asked how we knew about them. Only she knew. But Deacon came out and vouched for us, clearing up any suspicion, and now it was time to officially start working for the Railroad with Tradecraft. The plan for this run is simple. Set up all the factions until I have to go against them in the story, not just for all the XP that we'll get for that to reach level 50, but also to save time later when coming back to complete the rest of the endings. Quickly returning to Preston, we turned in the When Freedom Calls quest, which ended up triggering 2 achievement pops, one for the quest itself and another for reaching level 10. And you know, while we're on a roll for achievements, I unlocked the ability to reverse pickpocket, which lets me place a live hand grenade in someone's pocket. So as I was heading over to start the Tradecraft quest, I stumbled across a peaceful little home, and, well... oh. He has a kid. Well, you ready to watch your dad go bang? Yeah. It was 100% worth it though. Meeting up with Deacon on the highway, we ventured onwards until we found another member of the Railroad, who's been scouting a bunch of synths defending something we needed, Carrigan's prototype. With the intel acquired, we decided to push in through the sewers, and with Deacon and Dogmeat by my side, we took all the synths on our way down, and even hacked some more computers along the way. And just as a little side note, I'm not going to be mentioning every time I'm lockpicking and hacking, because they're literally everywhere, and it would get repetitive as fuck. We ended up watching a synth meet an untimely demise on a landmine, and eventually opened the vault where we discovered the corpse of Tommy Whispers, who died protecting the prototype. I secured the prototype and even received the Deliverer, a unique suppressed pistol that belonged to Tommy. Leaving the vault, we tested out the pistol, and it was pretty good for a pistol. Returning to the Railroad HQ, we turned in the quest, and the Tradecraft achievement popped. And with that, we're now officially a member of the Railroad. Inside the HQ, we robbed all the supplies and used the weapons workbench to upgrade the pistol, where we also removed and re-added the suppressor attachment 30 times, unlocking the Armed and Dangerous achievement that we got for crafting 50 weapon mods. Back in downtown Boston, we earned another achievement for letting a super mutant suicider take me out, because apparently self-sacrifice counts for at least something in the Commonwealth. We finally entered Diamond City, ran all the bases, unlocking us the home run achievement, and give Sheffield some new cooler and recruited him into the Red Rocket. Now Sheffield, we are going to make you a very happy person. At the Valentine Detective Agency, we talked to Nick about the disappearance of my son, and he mentioned that Kellogg might have him. So, using the key we lifted from the mayor's pocket before, we walked into Kellogg's home and unlocked the secret compartment, where we were rewarded with some sweet loot. Oh yeah, and obviously crucial clues for tracking him down. Before that though, we heard some rumours in Diamond City about a place called the Combat Zone, which meant even more free raiders to kill. Inside, we freed some hostages, cleared out an audience of raiders, and gained a new companion, Kate, by far my favourite. We give her the Furious Power Fist and instantly stripped off. Well, it's not what you think. See, Kate likes it when you lockpick things, and also when you wander around butt-ass naked. This means I can get it to max affinity without even trying, for another achievement. Speaking of passive achievements though, we set up Sheffield at the Red Rocket with a bed, food, water, and defense, and obviously something to keep him happy, where he will eventually reach 100% happiness, but we're gonna have to leave that for a bit as well. Next, we return to Dance at Arcjet to retrieve the deep range transmitter, and of course the synths had it. So we pushed through their defenses, grabbed another magazine along the way, and celebrated by turning Dancing Kate into a smoky kebab, courtesy of a well-placed rocket. After taking an elevator up to the exit and clearing a few more synths, we recovered the transmitter and handed it over to Dance, earning us a pretty neat laser rifle that we happily accepted, and set back off to track down Kellogg, who was hiding in Fort Hagen. Inside Fort Hagen, we cleared hordes of the Tin Men, grabbed another bobblehead from the cafeteria, oh yeah, and a fat man for dealing with Kellogg. When we were finally face to face with the man who took my son, I tried to take him on, and his synths immediately took me down. Second attempt, I ended up completely missing a nuke, but third time's the charm, and using a bit of precision, we got him and his synths, or at least one of them. Whoa, where'd you come from? Picking up his brain chip and a revolver that packed some serious damage, we searched his PC for a bit more intel and ascended to the roof, where we were met with the Pridwin, the Brotherhood's flying fortress. Returning to Dance at the station, we were now officially members of the Brotherhood, and for that, another achievement popped. Now, as official members of the Brotherhood, we took a nice little flight on a vertibird up to the Pridwin, and got straight to tomfoolery and shenanigans. Almost instantly, I just stole a full set of power armor off the soldier. On board, we met Elder Maxon and the crew, and immediately headed out on our first official Brotherhood mission, securing Fort Strong. Flying over in a vertibird, we used the minigun to deal with the behemoth, and watched horrified as a fellow vertibird got annihilated. Then, it was my turn. The super mutants outside were on some different sauce, like, they handed my ass to us in a nice box with a bow on top. But with enough perseverance, we finally made it through. Inside Fort Strong, we cleared the super mutants in the office, as well as the basement, securing the place for the Brotherhood and completing the quest. Back in Diamond City, I met the most easily distractible guard imaginable. The first shot didn't happen.
You see that big blimp?
You see that big blimp? I did see the big blimp. Before entering the Valentine Detective Agency, where discussing my findings with Nick, he told me that Dr. Mari and Good Neighbor could help us. With reunions now completed, another achievement followed. And shortly after, I talked to Piper in our office, recruiting her as a companion, which gave us another achievement for recruiting 5 companions. And then, just as quickly, we disposed of Piper and brought Kate back for the ride. Sorry Piper, but Kate has better vibes. Oh yeah, and a power fist. But now, it's not a blow-off video without my favourite side quest, Diamond City Blues. We entered the tap house just in time to watch Paul get absolutely folded by Cook. So naturally, we stepped in and offered to help. And by help, I meant mag dumping Cook. On Cook's body, we found a note about a chem deal going down, so of course I went to go handle the situation, as diplomatically as possible, with a rocket launcher and a 44 Magnum. At the deal, we grabbed some info from Trish, including the password to the chem factory, and then did what any responsible wastelander would do. Hoovered up every last drop of chems in the crate, cooked up some super drugs, and in the process of doing that, we unlocked the achievement for crafting 100 items. So now we have the chems for the run, and I guess the armor too, since how I can't wear any, but we're missing the gun. And for that, it was time to make a little detour to the happiest death trap on Earth, Nuka World. Now, although I will be using the DLCs for XP and items, I will not be doing the achievements there, as there is an additional 34 whole-ass achievements in the DLCs, and that's basically the entire season of Suffering on its its own. And I also don't want to drag the production length slash the video length out excessively. Besides, I figure it would be way more fun and painful to tackle all the DLC achievements in a separate video, starting fresh at level 1 on a brand new character. But for now, Nuka World is just a glorified shopping trip with a body count. We made quick work of the gunners and Assaultron defending the transit center, and Harvey too.
I know what kind of man you are.
Hopping on the monorail into Nuka World, we immediately cheated the system by skipping the entire gauntlet, by unchaining the door from the inside and just sprinting straight to the Cooler Cars arena, where waiting for us was British man number 4,900. Why 4,900? Because that's how many subscribers we're sitting at right now. And honestly, I'm grateful for every single one of yous. But hey, if you're enjoying this mess so far and want to help me reach my goal of 10,000 subs by the end of the year, why not subscribe so you get to see more from me and not miss out any of my bad life choices when it comes to Fallout. But for now, back to it. Now, the cooler boss fight was tricky. Armed with a glorified squirt gun, the plan was to short-circuit his bulletproof suit and sneak in a few hits at a time. To be fair, that totally would have worked if I could actually aim the rocket launcher. But after enough misfires, missed shots, and probably Kate carrying 90% of the fight, Coulter finally went down, and just like that, the entirety of Nuka World was mine. In the Nuka World market, I traded for a mountain of 7.62 ammo, since this was the only place that sold it, and also the only place that could bankrupt me just from buying bullets. After that, I had a little chat with Mason, the pack leader, who absolutely towered over us, but Hunter ain't no bitch. I stood my ground and told him to listen to me like a good dog, and before he could figure out whether I was being serious or not, he handed me the problem solver. It has the furious legendary effect, increases damage after each consecutive hit on the same target, which makes it by far the best gun in the fucking game. No, I'm gone. I've got my AK. I'm leaving. Back in Sanctuary, I upgraded as much as I could and then started to help Sturgis with his never-ending list of chores. Beds, turrets, crops, water, basically turning Sanctuary into a 5-star retirement home. I turned in the quest, and with that, another achievement unlocked. And you know, since we're on a roll with achievements, why not help out the settlers Preston wanted me to deal with? At 10 Pines Bluff, I helped the settlers with their raider problem, because, I mean, if they're dead, they no longer have a raider problem. Anyways, from that mess, I officially joined the Minutemen, popping the first step achievement. Returning to Good Neighbor, we were immediately offered insurance by a kind man named Finn, probably because I was still running around butt-ass naked. He must have thought I just needed the extra coverage. I really hope nothing happens to him. Inside the memory den, we handed over the chip we ripped out of Kellogg's skull to Dr. Amari, where she jammed it into Nick Valentine's head. And now, we have front row seats to access Kellogg's greatest memories. Sliding into the memory lounger, we hop through his brain a little bit, skipping his sad childhood and going straight for the good stuff. In Diamond City, where he was with Sean. Well, he was with Sean until a Corsair teleported him away using discount wizard powers. And when we finally crawled back out the memory sequence through a TV, Amari explained that the Institute basically studied at Hogwarts. And apparently one of their scientists might know how to teach us magic. So it was time to track us down an escaped Institute scientist that was hiding out in the glowing sea. Which was the perfect place to test out a shiny new AK. See, Furious is just broken as Oh, and it gets better. Just like that, he's gone. Now, that was an Enclave soldier in power armor. And yes, he just happened to be holding the Tesla cannon, which is basically a rocket launcher that eats the same ammo as a laser pistol. It's 100% balanced, by the way. But, of course, to reach the roof where he was camping, I had to fight through an entire building. And let me tell you, naked, that wasn't happening. I tried, like I really did, but no. I guess we'll have to cut our losses and move on. Or at least that's what I would have said if I wasn't a certified genius. Is there anything I can pick up and fucking do that bullshit to get up the side of the wall? Like, can I do it with a pistol or like a rocket launcher or something? Oh. 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 Oh, we're going somewhere. I'm just like too big brained for this world. Obtaining the Tesla cannon, this gun is now amazing for me. But for ghouls, not so much. Still, our bloodlust wasn't satisfied. So I dropped in on a group of children of Atom cultists. It was close to satisfying it, but not quite enough. Okay, now that works. Finally meeting Virgil, he explained that to get into the Institute, we need a decoder Corsair chip, which meant hunting down one of them metal boogeymen. Back at CIT, I tuned into the Corsair frequency and tracked him to Green Tech Genetics, which was absolutely crawling with gunners. Just like me, they were trying to kill the Corsair too, but unlike them, I have something they don't. Plot armor. Like I said, plot armor. After painfully clearing through the building, I reached the Corsair, and thanks to the AK, we shredded him and everyone else in the room, unlocking the Hunter/Hunted achievement. With the chip in hand, it was off to the railroad because there's nobody better in the Commonwealth for cracking Institute tech than them. While there, snagged another magazine and handed over the chip, which they happily decoded. Now, all that was to do is to build the teleporter. I went back to the Brotherhood, and to my surprise, they instantly cleared me to start construction on it. But they also threw in some side quests. I need to go recruit Dr. Madison Lee back to the Brotherhood, and also help Ingram by using a network scanner on one of the Institute terminals. So, with Ingram's help, we slapped the teleporter together, and standing on the platform, I was teleported into the Institute himself, popping the molecular level achievement. This is where I made a save, just so I can come back later and deal with the different endings without having to go through the start of the game again. We took an elevator ride through the Institute and finally made it to Sean. Don't ask why I'm naked, Sean. I was trying to impress a woman. And it's working. You're about to have a new mother. Now, but this kid wasn't actually our son. This one was. Father. Yes. I am the father of Father, who was also my son. Welcome to Fallout 4 Logic. Talking to Sean and agreeing to join the Institute, we are now officially allied with all the major factions in the game. And as a part of the onboarding process, we have to meet all the division leaders, including Dr. Madison Lee. And after a little bit of convincing and some threat level persuasion, she rejoined the Brotherhood and left the Institute. Once we met all the division leaders, we were officially institutionalized, unlocking the achievement for it. And back at the Boston airport, we updated Maxon on our progress and returned the holotape to Ingram, where then she revealed the Metal Man.
No. Wait. Wait.
To get to work building Liberty Prime, we placed 4 electromagnetic actuators and turned in the quest, and immediately got sent back out. This time, to secure some nukes in the glowing sea, to arm our giant robot Patriot. Inside a big pyramid filled with nukes, we jumped down some framing and cleared the local ghoul population. Guarding the stash was an Assaultron and a Child of Atom, who were promptly added to the body count. With the nukes secured, we returned back to Liberty Prime and activated him, where he spoke true patriotic words of wisdom.
Start digging in your butt, twin.
Up on the Predwin, we were accused of knowing that Paladin Dance was a synth, and without missing a beat, I agreed to go take him out. But first, Kate had a side quest. She wanted to cure herself of all chem addictions, and it wasn't going to be as simple as one a dick doll. She heard of a vault that had the equipment to do so. Vault 95. So venturing over to the glowing sea where Vault 95 was, we fought our way through the gunners and discovered another bobblehead and added it to our collection. But getting to the machine itself was a little tricky, thanks to some gunners dealing an absolutely insane amount of damage. Eventually though, Kate sat in the chair, cleansed herself, and just like that, the quest was done. But that also means max affinity with her was right around the corner. Anyways, back to the main event, Paladin Dance. We tracked them down to a bunker where Kate may or may not have blown herself up and taken half the room out with her, but at least she cleared the robots. Well, all but one. Goodbye, Dance. I'm glad you like that, Kate, because I fucking didn't. Happy? We had a fusion core. Collecting his dog tag, we returned it to Maxon and completed Blind Betrayal, unlocking its achievement. Now, it was time to take down the railroad. Back at the church, we started in the main room, dealing with Dr. Carrington and the other members, and pushed through the tunnels, lobbing Molotovs if anyone in our way. In the HQ, we cleaned up the remaining members of Glory, Tinker Tom, and even Desdemona. Finally, we hacked Pam and returned to the Predwin for our next orders. This time, we need to retrieve a giant battery for the Iron Giant that was located in Mass Fusion. Flying over, we looped around the roof and mowed down synths with a mounted minigun before landing and clearing the rest. We grabbed the lab keycard and password and then started descending in the elevator, putting our Tesla cannon to good use. Everything was going smoothly, a little too smoothly, until they blew a wall up, dropping the elevator straight to the floor. And after one small mishap that paralyzed us and got us killed, I flipped a switch restoring the power and continued on the elevator down. And on the way down, we spotted another bobblehead perched on a statue. So fighting our way up, we snagged it, bringing our total bobbleheads to 5 out of 20. In the reactor room, we quickly dispatched of some powerless Assaultrons and donned on a hazmat suit. We pressed a big red button and grabbed the battery, only for it to trigger a lockdown that released a sentry bot. And thanks to a grenade that Ingram threw, I started the fight off without any arms. Thanks, Ingram. But with a lot of bullets, we overcame it. And with the sentry bot dead and the lockdown ended, the side quest was complete, and we hit level 25, unlocking the achievement for it. Battery in hand, we inserted it into Liberty Prime, and now it was time to see just how this metal man handled some serious action. Armed with the nukes, the synths didn't stand a chance, and neither did the behemoths. Though, I will take some credit for assisting him with it with my Tesla cannon. I wandered alongside the metal man for a while, deatomatic vandalising everything in the way, and we even enjoyed a nice swim together, eventually reaching CIT, where the Brotherhood and I defended him as he scanned the site. And the Tesla cannon made this a shooting gallery. Liberty Prime finished the job by cracking open the Institute, and with one final nuke, made us a hole to jump into. And for jumping down that hole, we completed the Ad Victorium quest and getting the achievement for it. And now, it was time to wipe the Institute off the map. Zapping through their defences and soaring around, with Brotherhood soldiers by my side, we pushed into the main lobby and cleared house. We ascended on the central elevator and reunited with Sean one last time. There he was, on his deathbed. I looked him in the eyes and showed him the most non-threatening gun in the Commonwealth. And after hacking his terminal and lifting the lockdown, the path to the reactor was clear, and only a few more synths stood in our way. But with the Tesla cannon, we reduced them to scrap, and I strapped a bomb to the reactor and got zapped to the relay room, where, surprisingly waiting for me there, was fake Sean. He wanted to come with us, but being a robot, I just left him behind. And one final teleport later, I was standing on the roof of Mass Fusion, where I pressed the shiny button and watched the Institute turn into dust. And the final cutscene played. I talked to Maxon and unlocked the final story achievements for the Brotherhood ending. And with the Brotherhood story wrapped up, I looked down at my Pip-Boy and faced the harsh truth. At the end of the entire story, we're only level 28. And to hit Legend of the Wastes, I need to reach level 50. That's 22 whole ass levels of XP farming. So I did what any sensible Wastelander would do, went on a side quest bender. But we've still got a long road ahead. To put it into perspective, I gathered around 62,000 XP so far in this run. And I still need a whopping 131,000 more. Fun. So let's start by cleaning up some achievements. First up was Scavenger for gathering 1,000 resources used for crafting, which popped after a short shopping trip with Carla. And with just one fast travel later, we finally reached max affinity with Kate. Yes! Finally! I can wear clothes now! With Kate happy, we could actually go and get some armor. So, to kill multiple birds with one stone, we headed over to the northeast side of the map to take down a power-armored mercenary called Pyro for a quest. And while we were there, we also hit up Hub City's auto wreckers for some better gear. Getting through the gunners, there was no issue at all. Now, only if I could say the same about Bridget, as she decided the perfect place for a fat man nuke was my skull. But one retry later, she went down. And we secured ourselves a strong set of heavy combat armor. Now, although this armor was really beefy, it still didn't protect me from my own stupidity. Getting down the bridge safely, we set our sights on Saugus Ironworks that housed the Forged, a group of fire-obsessed lunatics. Because, you know, I love not being able to see anything while fighting for my life. But after clearing the place out, we found a key hidden in a can, shifted the Forge, and retrieved some fireproof power armor legs. And those bad lads let us walk straight across molten lava to grab the Ghoul Slayer's incinerator, finishing off the Crucible quest. In the final room, we met Slag, the boss of Saugus, and removing him from this world gave us the shish kebab, but more importantly, another bobblehead for the collection. From there, we went on a little swim out to Spectacle Island, way down in the bottom left corner of the map, and we arrived just in time to watch some Mirelurks bust out their best shimmy. A ship on the island housed the Luck bobblehead, which I quickly kidnapped. The Mirelurk Queen did not appreciate the theft, but 2 mini nukes later seemed to change her mind and she was more willing to part ways with it. Not far off the coast of Spectacle Island, we stumbled across the Atom Cat's garage, and also the repair bobblehead. And conveniently, just around the corner from that sat Poseidon Energy. Now, the place was packed with raiders, but they were so weak it felt more like a warm-up than a fight. Inside, we scooped up another magazine and the Endurance bobblehead, finally making it our 10th bobblehead overall. With that, the They're Not Dolls achievement popped. But now, for another bobblehead, we're going to have to dive headfirst into the Cabot side quests. So in the Cabot house, we talked to Edward, and headed straight out to the asylum. Maria told us a package has been stolen from the Cabots, so we'll have to go retrieve it. And as simple as one dead raider later, we got it back and returned it to Cabot. He then sent us out to recover his sister, but instead of wandering all over Goodneighbor asking people where she might be, I knew exactly where she is, thanks to my many hours and not at all Google. I am not gonna lie, I think this is my 3rd time ever doing this quest. At the amphitheater, we met with guys that like to steal your stuff, and I'm not gonna lie to them, I like doing that too. So I stole all of their stuff, including their lives. Got Cabot's sister back, completing the side quest. And for that, we got Guns for Hire for completing 10 side quests. Next up, the final mission of the Cabot line. The asylum that we went to first is now under attack. And naturally, I was the best man for the job. Like, look at my resume. On the bright side though, we got the Charisma bobblehead, and using my Godly Furious Power Fist, we took down by far the tankiest enemy in the game, finishing the quest line for the Cabot. Next, we needed the castle for a couple of more achievements, so it was time to get to work for the Minutemen. While clearing a location of Milex for the Grey Guard, I unlocked the What's Yours is Mine achievement for picklocking 50 things. Back at Sanctuary, I put all of our collectibles on display and came to the shocking realization I own more bobbleheads than magazines. But placing these display cases down, it also reminded me that I need to go on a little shelf spamming spree for a little bit of XP, and the Fixer Upper achievement for building 100 things. Talking to Preston again, unlocked another achievement for finally discovering 100 places in the Commonwealth. But back out on settlement business, well, this happened. You can fuck off. You ain't slick. I know what a dead ghoul versus a sleeping ghoul looks like. Yeah, it turns out I'm not very explosive resistant, but with that mess out of the way and handled, we swung by Gunners Plaza, where they double-checked that theory. But there's good news, neither are the Gunners, which led us to snag the Small Guns bobblehead from the plaza. At Hyde Park on Minutemen business, we started by clearing out some raiders, and then climbing our way to the rooftops, where we came face to face with the leader named Scudder. Swiftly putting him down conveniently was our 300th person kill, rewarding us with the Mass Hole achievement. With the raiders cleared out of the area, the Minutemen set their sights on reclaiming the castle. We headed straight over and got to work removing the Mylurk infestation, including the children, and with the majority of the eggs smashed, that apparently pissed off the Mylurk queen enough, to the point where she showed up. So naturally, we put our trusty Fat Man to work, and she fell just like that. And that made 5 giant monsters down, unlocking us the Harder They Fall achievement. And next, powering the pylon to the castle triggered another instant achievement for taking independence. But the achievement spree didn't stop there. After all that Mylurk killing, we swung by Jamaica Plain to clear out some ghouls, and for 300 creature kills, animal control popped. While we were over there, we freed a kid out of a fridge, don't ask, and returned him home to his parents before putting down the creep who tried to buy him off me. But now, it's time to get back on the bobblehead grind. The first stop, Malden Middle School, home of Vault 75. Inside, we ran into gunners, metal men, and worst of all, the most confusing layout known to man. Like, I don't know what Vault-Tec were doing when they were designing these vaults, but they definitely didn't make it accessible for people with piss-poor memory, like myself. But after stumbling around for long enough, amassing a bigger body count, and collecting keycards, we finally made it to the office overlooking the training area. We snagged the science bobblehead, and made our way over to Trinity Tower in downtown Boston. That was, believe it or not, a tower. Shocking, I know. We fought our way to the top, dealing with every variety of super mutant possible. Some of them have boards, some of them have pipe guns, and a few were packing miniguns. It didn't really matter what they had though, as we reached the top quite easily. We freed Rex and Strong and grabbed the melee bobblehead on the way out. Then it was off to the FMS North Star. But instead of fighting through every raider on board, I scaled the side with some sweet parkour and totally not bullshit physics, eventually reaching the plank where the agility bobblehead was waiting. And off to Pickman's Alley we went. Going through the front door, there was a ton of raiders that were quickly made into mincemeat, and entered his basement, which, my god, was massive. We fought through more hordes of raiders, and then saved the man himself, rewarding us with the lockpicking bobblehead. Immediately after, we swung by Longneck Lukowski's cannery, where the border bobblehead was just chilling behind a locked door. But now, for the sneak bobblehead, located in my personal favourite area of the entire map, Dunwich Borers. Now, on the surface, it's just another raider camp, but down in the excavation pit, you find one of the Fallout's best hidden stories. Managers being called to cult sacrifices, miners turning into ghouls, and terrifying flashbacks stitched in between. And the best part, this place is not tied to any quest. It's just there for you to stumble across. And did I mention the sneak bobblehead was here? Just for the cherry on top? It's a pure chef's kiss. From there, we went to Corvega, where the enemies were piss, and literally I could breathe on them and they would die. They did devise a plan to try and rush me all at once. It didn't go well for them at all. And at insult to injury, it didn't even hurt. But on the roof, we collected our 19th bobblehead, making one more left to go. And the last one is located behind another quest, inside of Vault 81, where my incredible charm got us inside. We had a quick poke around to start the trigger for the Hole in the Wall quest, but while waiting for that to start, I knocked out some miscellaneous quests to chip away at Mercenary, for completing 50 of them. And I don't get this at all, because you only have to complete 10 side quests for an achievement, but 50 miscellaneous quests. And arguably, side quests are way easier to come across than the miscellaneous ones, but luckily, there's a way around this. We painted the wall for Abbott and Diamond City, helped out the Atom Cats, and even defended them against some gunners. That got me inducted into their little gang. And while settling a dispute for yet another settlement at the National Guard training yard, I also hacked my 50th and final terminal, which unlocked Robco's worst nightmare. And by allying with the third settlement, I popped another Minutemen achievement at the same time. And that brought me back to the castle, where Ronnie Shaw showed up. She told me about an armory that was located beyond the castle walls, and after clearing some debris and nearly getting turned into paste by a big robot, we cracked it open and we were rewarded with the artillery schematics. But after building one and testing it out, I wrapped up old guns, officially finishing all the Minutemen related achievements. I also tried out some of the new gen quests and the weapons, and I've got to say Bethesda were actually cooking with that update. But now back to Vault 81. The hole in the wall quest finally triggered. Basically, a kid sneaked into a hidden section of the vault, got bitten by rabid mole rats, and now he's dying. I went in to go get the cure, but not before getting bit myself, losing a permanent 10 HP. I could have kept the cure and used it on myself to get that 10 HP back, and been rabies free for the rest of the run, but I'm not that heartless. Hey, I'll kill a man in cold blood because he's a robot. I won't let a kid die though. Inside where the cure was, I met Curie, a French Mr. Handy. Was it Mrs. Handy? I don't know. Anyways, more importantly, the final bobblehead was there, giving us the achievement for finally collecting all of them. Now, with all the bobbleheads secured, it was time to dive into some more quests and exploring. Because with all that done, we're now at level 37. I still need 46,000 XP to reach level 50. Now, quests could do it, sure. Or I can go on a mass killing spree. And there's no better place for that than Nuka World. It's now time for open season. Now, Nuka World has two main quest lines. You can either side with the slaves, freeing them, or you could work with the raider gangs and remain in control and having slaves in Nuka World. And open season is the one where you work with the slaves by killing every raider faction. We started with the pack. I mowed down every last raider and animal, Mason included. And with Shank gone, I rolled into the parlor and wiped out the operators. William and Mags went down, and Nisha, who was just wandering around the park like an idiot, was easy pickings. With her dead, open season was complete and the slaves were freed. And from that, I got a fat stack of XP, some more AKs that I looted off everyone, and ammo. Back at Sanctuary, I upgraded the AK with all the parts that I scavenged from Nuka World, and now fully kitted and loaded. The next stop was the Enclave outpost in the Glowing Sea. Yeah, the same one that I barely survived before. This time though, I've got armor. And I've got ammo. And because of that, the Enclave never stood a chance. From the ones wearing the power armor to the vertibirds, none of it could stand against classic Soviet technology. With the outpost dusted, I detoured to the Skylane's Flight 1981 crash site to grab the last magazine I needed, which popped the Prince Not Dead achievement. And just like that, every collectible in the game's now wrapped up. It doesn't seem a lot for use, but trust me, the entire process of collecting all of the collectibles took about 4 hours. For a little more sprinkle of power, I headed over to the Boston Police rationing site to snag myself a shiny new suit of power armor. And using my monumental brain size, I managed to unlock a barricaded door from the outside. Charging through the basement with all my might, I recovered the armor, strapped on a laser minigun, and decided to take on the entire Automatron DLC. And honestly, it was light work. The Mechanist didn't stand a chance, and neither did any of the robots. I walked away from the DLC with the Mechanist armor, which, may I add, sells for a metric fuck ton, and back to the Red Rocket, where I decided to get creative with the Mercenary achievement. Now, you see, vertibird grenades technically count as miscellaneous quests if you board them. So naturally, I spammed about 30 of them, climbed aboard each one, and instantly landed. Mine normally rinse and repeat, and eventually we got the Mercenary achievement. And to top it off, while roaming the Commonwealth, Sheffield reached pure happiness, which popped the Benevolent Leader achievement too. And I'm not gonna lie, this grind for the Legend of the Waste achievement is getting really boring. So I shelved it and went all the way back to the save where we made it into the Institute to go get the other endings. But don't worry, we will be back. This time I'm going to team up with the Institute. We met all the division leaders again and then jumped straight into synth retention, where a runaway synth had joined a raider gang. So with a Corsa buddy in tow, we set off to get him back, and using the magical powers of magnetic feet, I climbed the side of another ship and reached the top, hit him with a recall code trank, and dipped instantly. Back at the Institute, we were told some synths were hiding out at Bunker Hill, but the problem is, the Railroad wants them, and the Institute does too. However, I don't want anything to do with it, so I killed the Corsair outside and skipped the entire mission. Father wasn't exactly thrilled about it when I told him, but I mean, he'll get over it. Then came a painfully boring meeting back at the Institute, where we just had to sit and listen and watch. But hey, at least I got the Mankind Redefined achievement. I'm glad that's over. That was until I flung myself over a stair railing like a complete pleb and took myself out, which meant I had to sit through it again. I swear, that's the worst form of torture. I wouldn't wish that on the worst of my enemies. And this time we didn't even get a reward. But like with the Brotherhood, the Institute wanted the giant battery from Mass Fusion 2. This time though, I had a trick. After getting teleported to the roof, I popped a little jet and descended in style into Good Neighbor and hit a warp trigger. And ended up having a little bit too much fun with the loading screen. The warp landed me safe and sound, also letting me skip the whole elevator sequence, and run straight into the reactor room, where we grabbed the battery and secured it for the Institute. The Institute then asked me to handle some troublesome gunners, and because I've got a silver tongue, they wanted me to convince a guy at Grey Garden to come work for the Institute, which I did with ease, and also turned the gunners outside invisible by zapping them out of existence. We recorded a speech, and for the first time I realised Father actually gives you a script for the speech. I've never noticed this before. We set up some radio boosters in Diamond City to broadcast it across the Commonwealth, and after reporting back and inserting the battery into the reactor, we hosted a meeting with all the Institute members and the power-up achievement popped. But now it's time to properly go on the offensive with the other factions, and the first target is the railroad. With the Tesla cannon in hand, I wiped them off the face of the map, every single one of them. Well, except for Deacon. He was hiding in Sanctuary. And as a reward for his cleverness, I give him more of a cinematic death. Now the only thing standing between the Institute and total control of the Commonwealth is the Brotherhood. Relaying to the airport dropped me straight into the chaos. Bullets and lasers were flying everywhere, and I could barely see what was happening. And because clearly I didn't think ahead, I ran out of ammo and heals halfway through. So my strategy shifted to dodging. Oh, get Matrix on. Oh, you too. Oh, look at these Matrix skills. I am not dodging shit. 2 broken legs later, I made a hasty retreat to the Nuka World Market, stocked up on supplies, and stormed back in with my AK locked and loaded. This time we steamrolled through them. We knocked out the generators, relayed in synth reinforcements, and pushed all the way up to Liberty Prime. Defending the virus upload wasn't too bad. The only real scare was a beefy vertibird carrying Max and himself, but the Furious modifier is actually busted. I pulled that bird out of the sky with about 30 bullets. Wave after wave of Brotherhood soldiers fell until Liberty Prime was hacked. He turned his head, took aim, and fired. With one shot, the Predwin came crashing down into flames. Finally, I returned to Sean to tell him it was over, that we'd won, and upon hearing the good news, he instantly died of happiness. No, like literally, he's gone. He's actually dead. I mean, my son's gone, but at least I get to walk away with the Nuclear Family achievement for finishing the Institute ending. Now for the final ending, the railroad ending. We picked up right before the Institute sent me to kill them, and started Underground Undercover, where we have to help a synth escape the Institute. Using a holotape we got from Tinker Tom, I made contact with one of the synths and his partner. From there, we had to break into Cambridge Polymer Labs to grab a password to let them escape. But thanks to my god tier hacking, it took about 5 seconds to get myself locked in there, and another 5 to hack my way out, with the info we needed. With everything in place, it was time for the escape. We cut through the guards, and honestly, I'm sure I didn't even need to be there. The synths dogpiled the guards. But back at the Railroad HQ, the Brotherhood launched their attack, where my gun ripped straight through the power armor like it was made of paper. But even with my help, Glory didn't make it, and she dropped almost the second I got to her. So in her honor, we held the lobby, shredded every last Brotherhood soldier, and pushed them out. With the attack repelled, it was time to hit them back, but harder. Meeting up with Tinker Tom at the Cambridge police station, we wiped the guards and scrambled into the vertibird. Tom's flying was, let's say, unconventional, but things only got worse when I hopped clean through the floor of the Predwin when we finally docked. Don't ask, I've got no clue what happened either. Eventually, I made it back onto the Predwin, and the initial plan was to stealth in, plant the bombs, and stealth back out. Sounds easy enough. But the stealth ended about 2 minutes in. So it changed into shooting my way through, strapping the bombs to the inside, and legging it back to the vertibird, where we made our grand escape, just as the whole thing went up in flames, watching it crash as we flew away. Back at HQ, I reported the success, unlocking Rocket's Red Glare, and the final story achievement. Now we have all the endings wrapped. The only thing between me and 100% base game completion is the grind level 50. So for more XP, I travelled out to Far Harbour to lend a hand to the locals, but no sooner as I stepped foot on the dock, the bells were ringing as the town was under attack. I jumped in to defend them from the fishy boys, and in return the townsfolk rewarded me with the best prize of all, chores. So I did their bidding, cleared out ghouls, fetched them tools, and made a fog crawler disappear. And of course fight trappers. So many trappers. But it wasn't all bad news. I mean, after running enough errands, I actually became something of a legend of Far Harbour by agreeing to take on the Red Death. Now, this monster has the whole island terrified. The build-up is insane. The residents swore it was a menace unlike any other, and I was sure the battle would be pure chaos. Explosions, screams, countless deaths. So we set sail for the island, and there it was, the Red Death. I remember playing this for the first time and seeing that little shit, and I was like, I got baited so hard into it. Well, I mean, better safe than sorry. To be fair, it does make a solid rave light. But that's about it. Back in town, we celebrated like true heroes. We did exaggerate to the townsfolk a tiny bit about what happened out there, but I mean, they bought it. And thanks to all the quests, and I mean a lot of meaningless quests, I was sitting pretty at level 49. Yeah, it turns out Far Harbor missions are just Preston style, go here, kill that, bring this back missions, but with way better XP. Back at Sanctuary, I squeezed out a little bit more XP with some statues and shelf spam, but I wasn't about to let that be my level 50 moment. Oh no, I had something special in mind, something worthy. So, it's time to go hunting for a real fight. And that fight is in the Museum of Witchcraft. Creeping through the halls in full Juggernaut armor, I finally saw it, the albino Deathclaw. This was it, my chosen opponent. I slammed back every chem in existence, cracked my knuckles, and stepped forward for the hand-to-hand brawl that would make me the legend of the wastes. We exchanged blows, my fist slamming into its hide and its claws tearing into me with bone-shattering force. Every hit it landed rattled me inside of my power armor like I was a tin can in a blender. It pinned me to the ground a lot more than once, and little by little it started taking the upper hand. My chem-fueled swings weren't keeping up, my stamina was draining, and then came the sound no wastelander wants to hear in a fight, and that was the sound of my power armor breaking. As the albino Deathclaw shredded through my protection, piece by piece, for the first time in this run, aside from being naked, I felt like maybe I'd bitten off a bit more than I could chew, but I refused to back down. I gulped down every last chem I had, Jet, Psycho, Med-X, and kept swimming. And finally, after a lengthy battle, the albino Deathclaw collapsed, granting us the XP we needed for level 50, finally unlocking us the Legend of the Waste. And with that, we have finally unlocked all base game achievements in Fallout 4. Now, I came here with a plan, and I executed it. But there's still more I have to do. I mean, I've got all the DLCs to complete, but that will come in another video as I tackle them starting from level 1. And if you're still watching at this point, you're an utter legend. I know this one hasn't been exactly short, but I appreciate and love every single one of you who've stuck around this long. I've had so much fun recording this, even the pain in the ass achievements, but it's all for the love of the game. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.